Barbecue, the great American pastime. There is nothing better than the smell of charcoal, the taste of a slow-cooked brisket, and the sound of sirens approaching in the distance. Most people know that fire is hot. But today, we're looking at a special group of people who looked at a grill and thought, you know what this needs? More explosions. We have 13 absolute disasters on the menu today. We're talking about guys using liquid oxygen to start a fire, chickens that turn into missiles, and a woman who accidentally burned down 13 apartments just to get revenge on her ex. So, put on your safety goggles and keep a fire extinguisher nearby. Welcome to the dumbest decisions people have ever made. BBQ edition. Number 1. We are starting in the great state of Texas, where everything is bigger, including the mistakes. Let's talk about anger management. We've all been there. You get into a fight with your significant other, and you want to do something dramatic. Maybe you block their number. Maybe you eat their leftovers. But a woman in Sheldon, Texas, decided to take it up a notch. She was furious with her boyfriend. She packed up his clothes, which is standard procedure. But instead of leaving them by the door, she decided they needed to die. She put his clothes into a BBQ pit. Now, burning your ex's stuff is a cliche, but usually, people do this in a safe place. She decided to do it on the patio of her second-floor apartment. Let me repeat that. An open fire. On a wooden balcony, in a complex where hundreds of people live. She lit the fire, the clothes burned. But here is the thing about fire. It likes to climb. The flames quickly jumped from the BBQ pit to the wooden railing, then to the roof. Within minutes, the situation went from personal revenge to mass homelessness. The fire spread out of control. It didn't just burn the boyfriend's jeans. It destroyed 13 apartments. 13 families lost their homes because one person couldn't wait to burn a pile of t-shirts. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. But imagine explaining that to your neighbors. Hey, sorry I burned down your kitchen, but you should have seen what he said to me. Talk about a toxic relationship. Number 2. Staying in Texas. Seriously, guys, are you okay down there? We have a story about why you shouldn't bring a gun to a nature walk. A man was in his backyard, probably getting ready to grill, enjoying a nice evening. Suddenly, he spots an armadillo. Now, armadillos are mostly harmless. They just waddle around looking for bugs. They are basically blind armored rats. But this guy saw it as a threat to his territory. Instead of shooing it away, he went inside, grabbed his .38 revolver, and decided to go John Wick on the poor animal. He takes aim. He fires.
All right, let's see
Bang.
what we got in here.
Now, here is a fun fact about armadillos. Their shell is hard. Like, really hard. It's nature's bulletproof vest. The bullet hit the armadillo's shell. It didn't penetrate. Instead, it ricocheted. It flew off the animal at a perfect angle, flew back toward the shooter, and hit him directly in the jaw. The armadillo? It walked away. It was fine. The man? He had to be airlifted to a hospital to get his face wired shut. This is instant karma. The universe literally said, no, you. If you get into a gunfight with a small mammal and the mammal wins without firing a shot, maybe it's time to sell your guns and become a vegetarian. Number 3. Next up, let's talk about technology. We all love electric cars. They are clean, they are quiet, and they are full of massive lithium batteries. One Tesla owner, let's call him Tech Bro, went camping. He brought a massive, industrial-sized electric grill, the kind that needs serious power. But there were no outlets in the woods. Most people would use charcoal, or gas, or a generator, but not Tech Bro. He looked at his car and thought, I have a giant battery on wheels.
I'm
He
not sure
rigged
this
up
is
a
right.
homemade
Oh,
DIY
I
adapter
think I
to
hooked it
pull
up
high
correctly.
voltage power
Well, it's
directly from the
connected, right?
car's main battery
Uh-oh.
pack to the grill. He bypassed all the safety fuses because, he's an engineer. He's not. He plugged it in. For a few minutes, he was cooking. He probably felt like Elon Musk. Then the laws of electricity kicked in. The load was too high. The wiring overheated. But it didn't just pop a breaker. It caused a thermal runaway in the car's battery cells. If you don't know what a lithium fire is like, imagine a fire that creates its own oxygen. You
No.
can't put it out with
Oh,
water.
God, no.
It just
Not
burns
this.
hotter.
There's nothing I can
His
do.
car burst
Stop.
into flames. The
Oh,
grill
no.
melted.
Keep back.
And the fire
It's too
department
hot to
basically
engage.
had to stand there and watch $60,000 turn into a puddle of
Watch the
toxic
explosion.
slag. He wanted a burger. He got a pile of molten aluminum. Expensive lunch. Number 4. Let's move on to the world of BBQ snobs. Specifically, the guys with pellet smokers. Pellet smokers are great because they are easy. You set the temperature, put in the meat, and go to sleep. But they have one fatal flaw: grease. Every time you cook a brisket or a pork shoulder, fat renders out and drips into a bucket. You're supposed to clean this. It's gross, but you have to do it. Our hero? He hadn't cleaned his smoker in, let's say, 10 cooks. There was a solid inch of highly flammable pig fat at the bottom of the grill. He decides to cook a pork butt overnight. He sets it to 225 degrees and goes to bed. Around 3 a.m., a spark hits the grease. Now, grease fires are bad, but in a pellet smoker, you have a fan blowing air to keep the fire going. So, when the grease caught fire, the fan turned the grill into a literal jet engine. It was forced induction incineration. The temperature went from 225 to about 2,000 degrees in seconds. The metal warped. The paint peeled off. And then, boom, the entire smoker exploded like a bomb. It torched his deck, melted his siding, and destroyed half his backyard. He woke up thinking World War III had started, but it was just his laziness coming back to haunt him. Number 5. Now, we have the king of bad ideas. This is a legendary story about an engineer named George Goebel from Purdue University. George loved BBQ, but he hated waiting. You know how charcoal takes like 20 minutes to get ready? George didn't have that kind of patience. He was a man of science. He knew that fire needs 3 things: fuel, heat, and oxygen. So he thought, if I add more oxygen, the fire will be ready faster. He didn't use a fan. He didn't use a hairdryer. George got his hands on a canister of liquid oxygen, LOX. This is the stuff they use to launch rockets into space. He poured 3 gallons of liquid oxygen onto his charcoal grill and threw in a match. Now, usually, charcoal burns slowly. In an oxygen-rich environment, carbon doesn't burn, it vaporizes. The result was spectacular. The 60 pounds of charcoal didn't just get hot, they were consumed in 3 seconds. The fire was so intense it was blindingly white. But here is the problem. The grill was made of steel. Steel melts at around 2,500 degrees. The fire was hotter than that. The grill didn't just cook the food, the grill became the food. It melted into a glowing puddle on the ground. George was standing far enough away to survive, but he created a fire that was technically illegal under EPA regulations because it looked like a nuclear test. He won an Ig Nobel Prize for this, which is the award for science that makes you laugh then makes you think. Mostly, it makes you think, why are men like this? Number 6. Now, let's talk
What
about
is
the
this even for?
do-it-yourself community. I love DIY. It
Lid, but
saves
it's all
money, but
bent. I
sometimes
guess it goes
being
here.
cheap can literally
Yeah,
kill
that
you.
seems right.
Enter the galvanized smoker. Here is the logic. A good offset smoker costs like $500. A galvanized steel trash can at the hardware store costs $20. So our
Seems
genius
sturdy.
backyard
Good
engineer
price.
thinks, I hacked the system. I'll
Yeah,
just
this'll
build a
work.
smoker out of this trash can or these
All right,
plumbing pipes.
that's a few. Gotta
He
get this
drills some
composting
holes,
started.
throws in some charcoal, and invites the neighbors
One
over
more
for
good
ribs.
measure.
But here's the chemistry lesson he skipped. Galvanized metal is coated in zinc to prevent rust. When zinc gets hot, like BBQ hot, it doesn't just get warm, it vaporizes. It creates a toxic gas called zinc oxide. So, while he thinks he's smoking the meat with hickory or mesquite, he is actually smoking it with heavy metal poison. The guests eat the ribs, they breathe the fumes. A few hours later, everyone starts shaking. They get chills, fever, muscle aches, and trouble breathing. It's called metal fume fever, or as welders call it, the zinc shakes. In severe cases, it causes chemical pneumonia or even death. So, congratulations. You saved $400 on a smoker, and now you have a $50,000 hospital bill for mass poisoning. If the metal looks shiny and silver, don't cook on it. It's not a grill, it's a chemical weapon. Number 7. Continuing with the DIY disaster theme, let's talk about the holy grail of bad ideas: cutting open a propane tank. You see these cool
Yep, that's
custom
exactly how
smokers
it's
made
gonna
from
look.
old propane tanks, right?
Perfect.
They look awesome. So a guy decides to make one.
Look what we have
He
here.
finds an old,
Still
rusty
alive,
tank in
eh?
his shed. He opens the valve. Hiss! The gas stops
Blasted it.
coming out. He thinks, okay, it's empty. Time to cut it open. He grabs his angle grinder.
No,
He
that's
turns it on. Sparks start flying. He touches the blade to the tank. Boom! Here's the physics lesson. Propane is heavy. It is also oily. Even if the tank feels empty, the steel itself absorbs the smell, the odorant, and trace amounts of gas into its pores. Plus, the heavy gas sits at the bottom like an invisible puddle. The moment that angle grinder throws a single spark inside the tank, that empty container turns into a fragmentation grenade. The tank doesn't just pop, it rips apart. Shrapnel flies everywhere. It can take off a hand, a leg, or destroy the garage. The only safe way to cut a tank is to fill it completely with water to push out every molecule of gas. But our hero didn't do that because water is heavy and that takes too long. Well, you know what else takes a long time? Recovering from being blown across your own backyard. Number 8. This next one is about aesthetics. Nobody likes looking at a
Unbelievable.
big, ugly
What a
propane
mess.
tank in their yard. It ruins the
Gotta get
vibe.
this done. Just a
So,
little more.
some homeowners have a brilliant idea. I'll just bury it.
Nothing.
Out
Just
of sight,
landscaping.
out of mind.
Almost there.
They dig a
Just
hole,
A little further.
drop a standard tank in, connect a
Oh, come
hose,
on.
and cover it with dirt.
There.
This is
Well, I'll be.
arguably the most dangerous booby trap you can create.
Look
First,
at that.
standard tanks are not designed to be buried. The moisture in the soil eats through the metal. The tank rusts quickly. Eventually, it springs a leak. Now, remember how I said propane is heavier than air? When a tank leaks above ground, the wind blows the gas away. But underground, the gas has nowhere to go. It seeps into the soil. It saturates the ground like water filling a sponge. It creates a massive, invisible pocket of explosive gas right under your lawn. It sits there, waiting. Then, one day you decide to light a tiki torch, or maybe you drop a cigarette, or maybe you just mow the lawn and hit a rock. Spark. The explosion isn't small. It's a volumetric explosion. The entire backyard literally lifts into the air. It's like a scene from a disaster movie. Your grass, your flower bed, and your garden gnomes are instantly launched into orbit. If you want a buried tank, buy one designed for it. Otherwise, you are literally planting a landmine in your own flower bed. Number 9. Now, let's move to
Oh,
a
this
mistake
isn't
that
right.
happens at almost
Not
every
right at
family
all.
reunion. It's the impatience factor. You are grilling charcoal.
I guess
The
this isn't
coals are
gonna
dying
happen.
down.
Sorry,
The heat is
everyone.
dropping. You look at the fire and think, I need more power. You grab the bottle of lighter fluid.
Let's get this
Now,
grill going.
on the bottle, there was a warning. Do not squirt onto hot coals. But who reads labels? You squeeze the bottle. A stream of fluid hits the hot coals.
no.
Instantly, the
What
fluid
have I done?
vaporizes and ignites. But it doesn't just burn on the coals. The fire travels up the stream of liquid. It moves faster than you can react. It's called flashback. The flame races up the stream and enters the bottle in your hand. Suddenly, you aren't holding a bottle of fluid. You're holding a Molotov cocktail. The gases inside the bottle expand instantly, spraying burning liquid all over you, your clothes, and your guests. It happens in a split second. One moment you are the grill master, the next moment you are doing the I'm on fire dance in front of your terrified guests. If the fire is dying, use a chimney starter or add dry coals. Never, ever squirt liquid fuel onto something that is already hot, unless you want to shave your eyebrows off the hard way. Number 10. Next, let's talk
Yes.
about the ultimate
This is gonna
multitasking
work.
fail,
Wanna work.
engine block
Pure
cooking.
profit.
This is an old trucker myth. The idea is that your car engine gets hot, right? So why waste that heat? People think, I'll wrap a steak or some hot dogs in aluminum foil, wire it to the exhaust manifold, and by the time I drive to the picnic, lunch is ready. It sounds efficient. It sounds manly. But here is the reality. Engines vibrate. They shake. And food. Food has grease. So you're driving down the highway at 70 miles per hour. The vibration causes the foil to tear. The fat from the steak renders out. Now you have hot grease dripping directly onto a red-hot exhaust manifold. What happens when grease hits hot metal? Fire. You're driving along thinking, smells like barbecue. And then you realize, wait, that smells like burning rubber, and panic. Smoke starts pouring out from under the hood. You pull over, you pop the hood, feeding the fire more oxygen. Your car is now a flaming roadside attraction. The worst part? You ruined the steak. The fire department comes and puts out your car, or what's left of it, and you have to explain to the insurance agent that you totaled your vehicle because you were trying to sous vide a ribeye on the interstate. Just stop at a drive-thru, guys. It's cheaper than a new car. Number 11. Let's head back to nature. Imagine you are camping by a beautiful river. The water is flowing. The birds are singing. You decide to build a campfire, but you don't want just any ugly fire pit. You want it to look like a photo from Pinterest or Instagram. You see those smooth, beautiful gray stones at the bottom of the river. They are perfectly round. They look like spa stones. You think, these will look amazing around my fire. So you gather these wet river bottom stones and build a ring. You light the fire. You sit back, roasting a marshmallow, feeling like an interior designer of the wilderness. Big mistake. Here is the geology lesson you missed. River rocks are porous. Over thousands of years, water seeps inside tiny cracks and holes deep within the stone. When you heat that rock in a fire, the water inside turns to steam. Now, basic physics. Steam takes up 1,600 times more space than liquid water. The pressure builds up inside the rock. It builds and builds, and the rock holds it until it can't. Bang, it doesn't just crack. The rock explodes like a fragmentation grenade. Suddenly, your relaxing evening turns into a war zone. Razor sharp shards of superheated stone fly out at 100 miles per hour. This is literal shrapnel. It flies into your legs, into your tent, and into your cooler. I have seen photos of this, and it looks like a bomb went off. People get serious cuts and burns. So listen to me. If the rock comes from the water, keep it out of the fire. Unless you hate your shins. In that case, go ahead. Number 12. Now, let's talk about a classic American recipe, beer can chicken. If you don't know it, you take a whole chicken, shove a half-full can of beer up the cavity, and grill it. The beer steams the meat from the inside. It's delicious. But some people are never satisfied. They think if beer is good, something stronger must be better. Meet the booze can chicken. Our hero decides that beer is for wimps. He pours out the beer and fills the can with high-proof brandy, whiskey, or maybe even grain alcohol. He thinks this will infuse the bird with a rich, smoky flavor. He puts the chicken on the grill and closes the lid. Now, alcohol has a much lower boiling point than water. And alcohol vapor, it is highly flammable, explosive, actually. Inside the closed grill, the can heats up. The alcohol boils furiously. The cavity of the chicken fills with pressurized, flammable gas. The grill is full of open flame. You can see where this is going. The gas finds a way out, hits the flame, and kaboom! The chicken doesn't just cook, it launches. The explosion blows the lid off the grill. The chicken, which is now a biological missile, flies across the yard. Instead of a tender, juicy dinner, you have a charred bird scattered over 3 different zip codes. Number 13. Next, we return to the theme of impatience. Why does charcoal take so long to turn gray? It's boring. A guy looks at his smoldering coals. He blows on them with his mouth. It helps a little. He grabs a piece of cardboard and fans them. It helps a little more. Then his eyes drift to the corner of the garage. He sees his gas-powered leaf blower. He thinks, it's just air, right? A blacksmith uses bellows. This is just a high-speed bellow. I am a genius. He fires up the leaf blower. Vroom, vroom. He points the nozzle directly at the charcoal pile and pulls the trigger. Now, a leaf blower pushes air at about 150 to 200 miles per hour. When that hits a pile of loose ash and burning coals, you don't get a hotter fire. You get a volcanic eruption. The laws of aerodynamics take over. The entire pile of burning coal, red-hot embers, and gray ash is instantly blasted into the air. It creates a mushroom cloud of fire and dirt. It's a spark storm with a 30-foot radius. The result is absolute chaos. The guests are instantly covered in gray soot. They look like the victims of Pompeii. The burning embers land on the wooden deck, the patio furniture, and the dry grass. The hot ash flies into the neighbor's yard and starts melting their vinyl siding. It takes about 30 minutes to clean up leaves with a blower. It will take about 3 weeks to clean the ash out of your pool and apologize to everyone who got hot coals down their shirt. If you need a leaf blower to start your grill, you probably shouldn't be trusted with fire in the first place. Well, if you're still watching this, congratulations. You survived the carnage without losing your eyebrows. We've seen everything today, from armadillos fighting back with ricochets to guys trying to jumpstart a fire with a leaf blower like they are testing a jet engine. The takeaway is simple. A burger is delicious, but it is not worth losing your house, your car, or your freedom. If you find yourself holding a can of gasoline or thinking, I wonder if this rock will explode, just stop, put the tongs down, go inside and order a pizza. It's safer for everyone. Now I want to hear from you guys. What is the biggest BBQ fail you have ever witnessed? Did your uncle try the gasoline trick? Or maybe you melted a grill once? Be honest. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed watching these disasters unfold from the safety of your screen, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Stay safe, cook low and slow, and please leave the liquid oxygen to NASA. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.